Okay. I'm going to start off, and like I say, I won't put you on I won't mute everybody through the system. I'm going to let everybody just mute themselves. But I do want this to be interactive as much as we possibly can. As I was saying before, when we started this door knocking, give you a little bit of history. And, it came out of sort of frustration during the height of the recession, where we were making phone calls, we were doing everything we knew how to do to generate new business. Our emails were being ignored. Making a phone call into the base, our cold phone calling processes sort of weren't working as effectively as they had worked in the past. And out of frustration, got in a car, drove out to a business park and started knocking on doors. And as a result of that, we start seeing a different response to us. We start seeing a different way of how people were approaching us. So we start developing a program based on experience, based on what was working, what wasn't working, based on what would be the best way of doing it. We were getting thrown out of some buildings by the security people, so we figured out how to get around that. And through trial and error, as most things that we learn from trial and error, we developed a program that is as refined as we think we can get it. Everything still can be adjusted, things happening, but this program works. This program will get you appointments. This program will be productive. However, that being said, it's no different than when we teach the sales process. The only time we use the sales process is if we want a sale, but you got to do the process. And you got to do this process in its entirety, or it will not have the effect that you want it to have. And it's a process that we say, you got to sit down, you got to understand it, you got to realize what you're trying to accomplish, why you're trying to accomplish, and so forth. And that's why we want to, why we should door knock. It's a program, or it's a process that's not being used by your competition as much. Everyone has gone to the internet, everyone's gone to email, everyone's gone to multimedia and so forth. And we found the reception that we had walking into an office was rather welcoming at the least. We found that people were willing to talk to us. We found that people were willing to give us the information that we were looking at, and we found it to be productive. So we're doing it because it gives us another avenue of bringing in business and talking to people. The other reason why you guys need to get this program, up and running in your organization is that when we hire salespeople, we found a way to make them as productive as they can possibly be made productive within the first 3 to 4 days of what you hire them for. For example, you get a person and you say, you don't need to know anything about anything other than how to communicate effectively with somebody, how to follow through and follow up with somebody. When you look at this program, I can take anybody off the street, and within 3 to 4 days, I can make a determination whether or not they have the fire inside to go do what they have to do to go be successful. And if they can't do this process, you made a mistake in the hiring process. Because a Joe new guy, or a brand new person coming in, within a relatively short period of time, they will in fact bring appointments to your organization for opportunity. So, how much time do I spend on it? And what we're finding is that the time that we spend on it is that for every hour, hour and a half that you're on the street door knocking, it will in fact generate about an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of follow-up work. So we teach the ABCs of calendaring. You look at your calendar, you make a commitment of what day you're going to be on the street, and then you make a commitment on your calendar, time segmentation, of when you're going to sit down and follow up on what you have to do. So, it's going to take 20 to 25% of your time, and then you're going to block off on your calendar each day to dedicate it to the door knocking. And what happens is that when people say, well, geez, if it's so successful, how come you're not spending more time out door knocking? The challenge that you have is that if the hour and a half to 2 hours that you're out door knocking, you pick up so much information, you can't keep track of it. And we found that you need to get back into that office, you need to process the information that you have, and then you need to start the follow-up procedures that we're going to show you, following up with it. And for every hour and a half you're out in the field, it's going to generate 2 hours, and you've got other things to do because you have to go out on appointments, you have to make other phone calls. This is one form of prospecting. You know, where do I go? You know, we need to choose locations that are close by, multi-tenant buildings. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. When you go down to the downtown areas of the cities that you're in, a lot of these buildings have security. So what you need to do is we go in and we'll start at the top floor, and then we'll go 5 floors below it, and then we'll go back up to the second to the top floor, and then come back down. And the reason we're doing that is we're going up and down. It takes security a little longer to find you where you're at in the building. All right. And when they do find you, and they ask you to leave, you know, we're as pleasant as possible and say, hey, just in here trying to do some business with some companies, just trying to drum up business. And most of the security guards are very pleasant. They say, well, you know, we just don't allow solicitation in the building and so forth and so on. One of my guys got thrown out of the building because he solicited at the offices of the management company of the building. So you got to be a little bit aware of who you're walking into and who you're trying to present to. So a lot of these high rises, the management company has offices within the building. So please try to avoid those. And then the other one is business parks. Is you sit down and you park your car on the street, you go down the block, you come back up the other block, and our goal is to walk in and talk to, you know, somewhere between 15 and 20 companies in that hour and a half. All right, so we got 15 to 20 doors per day, you know, depending upon where you're spending your time, what you want to spend your time on, and what you want to do. So what we're finding is that right now, you know, the salespeople where they live, one of our sales guys, Michael, lives downtown, so he's doing door knocking primary down in the area, so he gets out of bed in the morning, and you know, he's in the marketplace of where he's going to go. The other thing that he finds that being downtown, he's starting to learn that community a little better, who's in those buildings, what's happening in those buildings, and so forth. What is our objectives and what we're trying to do with this door knocking? And this is where I try to tell everybody, please understand this process. I don't walk in with brochures. I don't walk in with a bag. I walk in with, you know, I'm dressed and I have a business card in my pocket, and that's about it. I'm not coming in where they're immediately saying, well, what's this all about? I'm there to do I'm there to do 3 things. I want to find out who the CFO is or the business owner. I want to find out what's the environment of that company, what technology is that company presently using, and I'm able to walk in. I will try to learn about as much about the business as possible, or about the owner as much as possible, because every company you walk into, the feel, how that place looks will take on the personality of the owner of that company. And you walk into a company, if that company is, people are sitting on orange crates and there's no, you know, a lot of old technology and it's not kept clean and everything's scattered, you'll find that that's sort of the personality of the owner of the company. If everything's pristine and everything's done in a real professional manner, that's pretty much the personality of the owner of that company. So you get a feel for the environment, feel for the company. And the most important thing that I'm looking at is I really want to understand what type of phone system or technology that they're presently using. And how you do that, you just look over the side of the receptionist. Now, the thing that you will find, 80% of every company you walk into does no longer has the receptionist sitting out in the front lobby anymore. A lot of the companies you come in, you have to hit a button, you have to hit a phone number, you have to yell down the hallway to try to find somebody. No different than what we do here at TAG. We have a receptionist desk out there with a computer, we got a nice lobby, we got artwork, and nobody's out there. That's 80% of all the companies are out there. When you do find a company that the receptionist out there, it tells you a lot about the culture of that company. All right, that's your first signal. All right, now you'll find CPAs, attorneys, professional organizations still will have receptionists sitting out there, and because they're very conservative type companies, they move in a little bit different direction. Their culture's a little different, so you got to be aware of how you talk about technology when you get into this transaction. So our objective is, I just want to find out what kind of technology is there, what the environment of that office is. I want to observe things. I want to look at things around the wall. And the last thing I want to do is I don't want to come in and immediately put the receptionist in a position of a defensive position. All right? We don't want to do this. We want to make that person comfortable. We want to make that person relaxed. And, you know, all of us have been through sales training all our lives. We've done a lot of selling, and one of the consistencies that we have about selling is that a smile on a human's face is one of the most powerful things that you can possibly bring to a sales process. Is that people mirror, people will pick up your energy, people will pick up your thoughts, people will pick up who you are by how you present yourself. You come in with a scorn on your face, you'll immediately set the pace. You walk in, you're pleasant, you're dressed properly and professionally, you're sitting with a white shirt and a tie, or you're coming in with your suit, versus coming in with a dirty shirt, wrinkled shirt, stained shirt. You walk in a professional manner, you know, your fingernails are clean, you have proper grooming, your hair is clean, and your teeth are brushed, and so forth. All those are absolutely critical. And I know that that becomes the most basic of basic, but you know what, Ron? You have to mention this to people. What we want to do is we want to be able to sit down, make that presentation, and we're going to have that smile on our face. Thank you. You don't have access to this one.
Please mute your phones. We're getting a lot of background noise.
And, you know, a question has come across here. It's a good question. It's from Bob. Ruth Ann, actually. Is there a particular time of day that works best for door knocking? And that's a great question. 9:30 in the morning is a great time, and 3:30, 4 o'clock is another great time. We found that by 9:30, everyone's in, they've settled in, they've had their cup of coffee, they've had the ability to sort of get the lay of the land, and now they're starting to expect some track activity and so forth, and the receptionist is settled in, settled down. Also understand, we're not going to ask for an appointment. We're not going to ask to speak to anybody. We're not going to ask to sit down and see if we can get anyone's time from the facilities, right? So anytime that reception, we find by 9:30 in the morning, that receptionist is, you know, she's pretty much settled in. The company's pretty much settled in. And then around 3:30, 4 o'clock, things are starting to slow up a little bit, and they have the activity at the time, you know, available, you know, to you. All right. So go in. You have a smile. Absolutely critical. And the most important thing is to be non-threatening. You want to walk in, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Dale Stein from Voice Smart Networks, and I have a smile on my face, and I will hand her a card. Sometimes I'll wait before I give her the card to see what kind of reaction I'm going to get from that particular individual. Yeah, we want to be friendly, and this is, like I said, this is being designed to be non-threatening, and you're not there to try to talk to anyone other than the receptionist. And this is something that you have to, you know, remember. There is no selling on this first appointment. I've had times where someone will say, you know what, we've been thinking about this. You need to talk to George. Well, let me go get George. I said, well, you know, I'm not really here. I don't really have the time for it. All I want to do is get an introduction, find out George, get his contact information. Don't want to disturb him, but I will follow up with him. We have found from experience that if George meets with us, it's not a proper environment. We can't get enough information. We can't get enough time from him. And we found that it's just better to let that receptionist know, hey, I'm not here to sell anything to anybody. I don't want anybody's time or anything else. And I'll go through our presentation of how we do that. what to say to a receptionist. I'm Dale Stein with VoiceSmart Networks. I'm in the building talking to a number of companies like yourself about today's technology, cloud technology, and I want to stop by your office, see if I can get the name of your CFO or the business owner so I can get some information to them regarding cloud technology and what's occurring with today's technology. Who might that be? And by coming in that fashion, in 90% of the time, they will give you that information. Say, hey, I'm in the building. I'm with VoiceSmart. We're talking to a lot of companies like yourself about the technology. And I look over and I say, this older technology that you have, we're going to be able to change that. I want an opportunity to talk maybe a little bit about SIP, talk a little bit about the cloud and hosted, and just want to have an opportunity to follow up. And typically I say, who should I be talking to within your company? And this is real critical. Who should I be talking to in your company? And before that person can answer, we simply say, we usually talk to the CFO or the owner of the company. Which would you suggest? Well, it was probably the CFO or the owner. So, okay, fine. You can give me his contact information. I'll make contact with him, and that'll be a more convenient time for him. All right? And you know what, guys? 80% of the time, you're going to get that information. May I have his card? Get the information. And when I get the business card or the name, I have an email. I have the owner's name. I have all the information that I need. And I walk out. I turn their business cards over, and I give it a 1, 2, or a 3 rating. And 1 is that, we got the right situation. The phone system was a 20-year-old Toshiba, it's a 15-year-old NEC. It was an old ESI. It was, it was older technology. It was a Nortel, all right, and it was or in my case, if it's an Intertel, that's really, really attractive to me. And I know I got technology down there. Now, if I see a Cisco sitting down there, I go, okay, well, we got an IT guy that's involved, who's made that decision, all right? So they're not going to change out that Cisco phone, but you know what? I now have the ability to talk about something else in my email, don't I? I'm not going to talk about changing out a phone system if it's a brand new phone system, but I can talk about managed services. I can talk about hosted video conferencing. I can talk about cloud services. I can talk about the printer, whatever I want to go in after that company. But if I got a brand new phone system there, if I got any other kind of phone system that can possibly be changed out, I got an opportunity, because my correspondence with that company is I'm going to say, hey, I visited your office, I was in your office, and I noticed your older Nortel system, or I noticed your Panasonic system. I've now made that email a little bit more personalized, haven't I? So I have the card and I move on. And sometimes when you walk in with brochures and everything else, they say, well, give me a brochure, I'll make sure it goes with the right person. Well, that's a lie. It gets, as soon as you walk out the door, they throw it away, and you don't need to drop off a brochure. I do have brochures because most salespeople feel they have to have some kind of a comfort zone, that they bring in their baby blanket because they have this brochure and they have to talk about something. And I simply say, if you do need that brochure, pull it out, show some of the things that you're doing to the receptionist, if that's what you need, but don't leave it with her, take it back out with you. What I want to do is I want to get an appointment with the CFO or the owner of the business. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. So I look around, I get a feel for the company, get a feel for what's going on. I see the kind of technology that they're using. I look at how old their PCs are. I look at just the state of how much respect do they have for technology, because that gives me an essence. And I put my codes on the business card so that when I come back in the office to follow up on it, I go, okay, I rated this guy number 1, older technology. All right. His data network is current and up to date. He understands technology. The place was clean. It had a good professionalism about it. This is the kind of customer that I want to have. Be vigilant. Is the furniture modern? Is the technology on the reception that's current? you know, they run it with one screen, two screens. You know, when you walk in and they're not using flat screens, it's got to tell you something. All right. You get a sense for how large the organization is and what kind of system that they're presently using. Well, I now walk out. I have my code. What do I do? What do I do next? At the end of the hour and a half to 2 hours that I've been out there, I'm sitting with anywhere with 15 to 20 cards that I got to follow up on. And I come in, I come back to the office, and I start making a decision what I want to do. I follow up with my 1, 2, 3 ratings. My number one ratings is that I immediately get on top of those because I'm going to run out of time following up on the rest of the stuff. And I will enter the information into my CRM. And what we do here is we do use the tag marketing program, because whether I get an appointment with this individual or if I don't get an appointment with this individual, it goes on my list of accounts that I'm working. And on the first Tuesday of every month, I keep building my list up, and I will, you know, until this guy disconnects from our email, they will get something from VoiceSmart, and they will get my name, my phone number, and whether I get the appointment or don't get the appointment. However, I am now going to send this person, this owner or CFO, a personalized email. If not the same day, at least, you know, do everything I can within the day after. And the title of the email is my visit. That will get more things open than not. Is that my visit? Is that they'll spend a little bit more attention to that tagline. The first email, and guys, these emails are up on the website. You may want to modify them a little bit, but you know, I'm not asking to modify too much. And I go, and here again, this is, and I stop by your office and notice you're utilizing Nortel phone technology that's not utilizing SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, or cloud services. VoiceSmart Networks provides flexible and secure SIP and cloud services that protects companies from the two risks of technology: cost and obsolescence. More than 85% of the companies can update their phone system to this new technology with unlimited calling for less than they're currently spending, even if they own their own system. I need 15 minutes of your time to prove out the ROI of updating your technology. We understand if it doesn't ROI, there may not be a reason to update now. If it does not ROI, we can then meet with your if it does ROI, we can meet with your IT ops people to discuss the technology capabilities and operational benefits. Can I meet with you either Tuesday or Thursday afternoon of this week? Does that work for you? I've in my email with a question. I've asked for an appointment, and then I simply also say, P.S. I've attached our latest industry award to provide you an overview about VoiceSmart Networks prior to our meeting. And you know, that's a you know, you can change the award. You know, VoiceSmart, you know, there's 4,000 companies that submitted. 25 companies were picked for companies that were truly unified communication companies. We got that award 2 years ago. We're still using that presentation. If you don't have that kind of award, take one of your press releases or one of the articles that have been done for your VITAG and say, P.S. I've attached our latest press release regarding our company, and our website is such and such, so that you have a little bit more information about our company prior to our meeting. And then respectfully, and a lot of the guys use with the utmost respect, and that email goes out. All right, now that email is followed up with a call. And that is, you know, you call in, you say, George, this is Dale Stein from VoiceSmart, following up on the email that I sent you yesterday regarding my visit to your office. You may remember that I indicated in my email, I saw your current business telephone system does not utilize SIP or cloud services. I'm contacting you to let you know that how these new technologies can provide greater potential efficiencies and increased profitability. I need to meet with you about 15 minutes to prove the ROI for your company. And I understand if the ROI doesn't work, George, there's no need to upgrade. If If it does work, we can then take it further to determine whether or not the technology fits how your company does business. Can I get together with you Tuesday, or can I get together with Thursday morning? Does either one of those days work for you? Once again, I asked for the appointment, didn't I? Once again, and then, I'm making the assumption I know how to get past the gatekeeper. We've all gone through that training of how we get past the gatekeeper to get to this guy. But when you finally get to the guy you want to, this is what you want to do. Hi, this is Dale Stein from VoiceSmart Networks. All right, following up on that email I sent you the other day. And just paraphrase, get through that. And I've asked for the appointment. So here's what we know about appointment calling. Once you can get to the right guy, all right, for every hour of calling, for every 15 to 20 people that you ask for an appointment, you will get an appointment. So when I get on the phones and I can't get the appointment, I get excited. I say, oh, only 14 more phone calls. Right? I get to the second call, I don't get an appointment. Only 13 more phone calls I got to make. All right? So it's a mindset of how you have to take a look at it. And, I know a lot of people struggle with making phone calls. A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people reject it. A lot of people think it's a waste of time. But here's the bottom line. If I know that if I put an hour on the phone, I know if I can get to 20 to 25 people, I know I'm going to get an appointment, right? And I know that if I do that for 2 hours, I got 2 appointments. I know my close ratio is 50%. I sell a system. I'm going to make myself, $2,000 or $3,000. And I sit back and I say, for every person who I don't get that appointment from, I'm still making $50 an hour, all right, or more. And it's a mindset that you have to get through. All right, so I've made this. Now, let's say I've failed and I can't get to the guy. All right, that happens sometimes. I placed the call. All right, will I leave a voice message on this? On this particular case, I'll say, George, this is Dale Stein from VoiceSmart. Call in regard. I will leave this voicemail, paraphrase. All right, because I got a second email coming out that as soon as I'm off that phone, and that, he wasn't there, I couldn't get him to the phone, he's not in the office, I've left the phone message, I immediately follow up with my second email. And the second email subject line is our meeting. All right? And I send that email, and the email, hey, I just left you a voicemail regarding my visit to your office, trying to reach you at a set time. I need 15 minutes to prove the ROI of upgrading your current phone technology to SIP and cloud services. We understand the R doesn't prove out in the here, so I go back through this, reiterate what we're saying. All right, make that call, make that email, get it out to them, and I will now follow up with another phone call. All right. If I reach a decision, once again, I just ask for the appointment again. All right, and if I get their voicemail, I will leave the message, as I said before. My call number 2, George, this is Dale Stein from VoiceSmart. I'm not having any luck in catching you. I know from your earlier voicemails and emails, I believe that you have a significant opportunity to help your company increase your profitability and operating efficiencies by upgrading your current system through SIP or cloud services. I just need 15 minutes of your time. Now, one of the modifications that we made here also, you can use it on this third, or you can use on the second email or the third email. And I said, and all of you say, you know what, George, I've been in this business for 30 years. I would not waste my time or your time if I didn't think we had a value proposition for you. You need to take that 15 minutes and talk with me. That's a very, very powerful statement there. All right. Hey, George, I've been in this business for 30 years. I would not waste my time or your time if I did not believe we had a true value proposition for you. You need to take 15 minutes to talk to me. Right? It gets pretty positive. Now, so the second email's gone out. The second phone call's gone out. Now the third email goes out. Is that this is where I'm at the end of frustration, and I just sit down. I go to my calendar and I send out meeting with VoiceSmart Networks. It's a Outlook appointment. They got to look at it and either accept it or reject it, don't they? All right. And now I've called him. I've knocked on his door. Been in his office. I've called him, I've emailed him, I've called him, I've emailed him, I've called him, and now I'm setting up an appointment on it. And that person has to either take my call, take my appointment, or not take my appointment. And it says, "Hi Dan, please confirm the day and time to meet for 15 minutes to prove out our ROI on upgrading your current phone technology to SIP and cloud technology. If this is not a good time, please select propose a new time. All right, I'll accommodate your schedule. I'm confident that we can, so forth and so on." All right, so I mean, here's what this guy has to do: is he has to take a look at the Outlook and say, reject the Outlook, doesn't he? Or accept it. Or, and my last final pitch is that if I don't get any response to anything else, I'll make one more phone call. Then once I've done that, I now have this person in the database for the tag advertising campaign, correct? So I know that once a month he's going to at least get an email from me, all right, so that my name stays in front of him and so forth. There is nothing that I've done here to offend this individual. There's nothing that I've done here to upset this individual. All I've done is shown the passion that I have and the follow through and the conviction that I have a value proposition for him. And all I want is 15 minutes. And that first appointment, when we get that first appointment is we sit down, we talk a little bit about SIP, we talk a little bit about his company, we talk a little bit about ROI, and I walk out with all his connectivity bills. Internet, phone, conferencing. I find out if he's doing video conferencing. At that point in time, has he looked at video conferencing? And I talk in real generalities of what we're trying to do. And then I get back to this, okay, George, it looks like, we're real close to the ROI. Let me start going, and then I go through my sales process. I will prove an ROI one way or the other. Many times, I can't prove the ROI, but the guy still says, you know what, I got an old system, I got to do something with it. And you know what, you've broken him down, he's not focused, he may spend the time with you. Okay, someone's asking me, are we to drop technology names and acronyms? I do it a little bit. This is a question that came in here. I do it a little bit, Brian, in that I'll say SIP, Session Initiation Protocol. What I'm really talking about is by going into the cloud, we're able to eliminate the voice calls. And I treat the receptionist as if I don't treat her as she's stupid, because she's not. I give her some information. If I give an acronym, I spell out what the acronym is, all right? So, but I treat her with respect, and I treat her that she's intelligent. I'm saying, hey, I'm in the building. We're talking to a lot of companies like yourself about SIP, which is Session Initiation Protocol, utilizing cloud services. Have you heard anything about the cloud? Well, there's not a human being on the face of the earth who hasn't heard something about the cloud. And it's just say, oh, yeah. I'll say, well, we're here to introduce that type of technology. All right, who should I be talking to? All right, before she can answer, I go, you typically would talk to the owner or the CFO. Who might that be? And then she'll give you that information. All right, and then the other question I have here is, where does that 85% come from? What we're finding, that's a number that comes from all the appointments that we have. We're pretty much able to ROI the 85% by give me all your connectivity bills, give me all your internet bills, give me what you're spending on conferencing, and then I take a look at that. You're spending $1,000 a month. I can come in and change your phone system out for $700 a month, because everything we do is on CPAP. $700 a month, and it's less than what you're presently spending, and here's all the new technology I've given you. So, we can't do it all the time, but a high percentage of the time, our transactions are happening that way. Now, if you're not collecting connectivity bills and you're not collecting conference bills, you're not collecting all that information, you're not collecting the internet bill, I don't know how you're selling out there. With a basic rule, if I can't get connectivity bills, I don't go any further. I move on to the next case. We failed. I won't propose unless I have those kind of bills. All right. Okay, and then sometimes and this happens too, Rita. is that, well, here, you know who handles that? Our IT guy handles that. And I say, well, you know what? I don't really need the IT guy. I'm not here to meet with anybody right now. What I want to do is do ROI, which is your return on investment, and this becomes a financial decision. That's why we typically talk to the owner or the CFO, because if we can't improve the ROI, there's no need to go any further. Just keep what you have. So this is more of a financial decision, and plus the tax ramifications. What's the name of the CFO? And I go back there, and because here, guys, we're to the point where I will not set an appointment with an IT person. All right? I mean, I set an appointment with an IT person. If you do get the sale, you ain't gonna make any money on it anyway. You got to get to the C level. You got here. I'm in there to replace the IT guy. Unless I can sit down with the CFO or the owner, I'll sit down and say, geez, why do you have an IT guy on staff? You only have 50, 60 employees. I never see this. Is he a brother-in-law or son-in-law? I mean, so I don't mix it up with the IT people. That's just, personally what we do. Okay, so I now send this email, and have I been pretty thorough? Yeah. Now, once again, guys, this is the perfect picture, the perfect world. Do I get my guys to do this every time? No. Do I try to get them to do it every time? Yes. All right. And when they go door knocking, I'm not seeing appointments. I go, wait, where's the second email? Where's the third email? And I find that they don't do that. They make the phone call and they fall off. And I mean, if I could ever figure out how we can get somebody to understand, geez, if you do this, here's what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is a hell of a lot better than what you're doing now. Why won't they do it? I mean, as sales managers, owners of companies, we fight with this all the time. But you know what? You still have to be diligent with it. So, there's a couple other things I want to take here before I go into statistics. Here's the other thing: is that how do you know your guys are out there door knocking? All right. Well, here's how you know it. Every email that goes out in this campaign, I tell them I want to be CC'd on it. Now, why do we CC somebody? Because one is that when the email comes in, it's their name and somebody else's, and the third name that it's three people. We work as a team here. We always say we work as a team. Dale's going to come out, I'm going to come out, or the salespeople are working as a team. The email has more importance with more than just the recipient's name on it. All right, has a little bit more impact psychologically. That's number one. Number two is that by Tuesday or Wednesday, I look at my Salesforce and I say, hey, no one's door knocking. How come? Oh, no, we're door knocking. I said, no, you're not. Oh, okay, we're not. Because if I'm not getting CC'd on the emails, guess what? No one's door knocking, are they? So it's the most effective, easiest way to determine whether or not your Salesforce is out there prospecting in this fashion. And you know what? Here, if they don't want to door knock, just tell me you're not door knocking. All right? And then I have to say, okay, tell me what you're doing to generate appointments. All right? What is your appointment plan? And what happens, like right now, we came off of some pretty good months. Everyone was busy with new appointments. They were busy with new sales, closing. And every time they get sales, I notice that the door knocking. And right now, I haven't seen door knocking done for the last week and a half. And it's because, their concept is, well, I'm busy doing this. I have this going on and so forth. But it's my job to say, well, you know what? I want to see some emails. So, here's some statistics. And these are the lists that the guys are running. Is that, Michael's got 249 companies that he has door knocked in the past. And these are emails and leads that are going out. He's found 173 companies in the Inside PRM. And then he's got 158 motels that he's visited. And these are all door knocks. He's door knocked on these companies and so forth. He's generated 29 leads. Dan's got 45, 174, 140. And this is the tag marketing program that's going out. We also tied a tag marketing program, like just the other day, the new leads came in from Inside PRM, so they'll get distributed. You guys get out there and start door knocking, start making calls, start making all the various things that we do. And so each each one of these guys are, they're pretty active, and you look at leads that are being generated, and then you come over here, and I want to talk about sales that we have deals sold through door knocking. All right, we got five great deals that come door knocking, and it's really interesting. One of the deals, door knock opportunity, went through this process and didn't have to go quite through. I think I didn't have to go to the third email. Made the appointment, and we're now billing this company $12,000 a month in managed services. So I think it's one of the larger ones that we have. That account now has turned into an opportunity where we will be replacing their phone system, which is 175 employees, and we're doing a transaction with them. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but they're trying to partner up with a company in China, and we're doing a lot of design work. The other one is a home builder with 13 phones. Another one was auto dealership. Went door knocked an auto dealership. And, as far as the current pipeline from door knocking, I mean, the problem I have right now is that when I look at the opportunity reports that we do, I'd say 40% of the appointments on our opportunity reports have been generated from door knocking. And the problem that I'm having is that they get busy and they fall off on the door knocking. It's a real balance of how much prospecting, how much follow-up, and we try to do it as much as we humanly possibly can do with focusing them on prospecting and proposing. When they get into the proposing stages, we're finding, I don't know if you guys are finding this or not, but we're finding, I don't care how, I mean, it's averaging anywhere from 4 to 5 appointments to close the deal once we have the appointment. I mean, we are back out there, we're discussing, we're finding that we're up against anywhere from 5 to 6 different companies, of which 4 of them are being proposed, hosted. So we're going through where once you get the appointment, it's not a matter of generate the appointment, go out and see them, come in and get some questions answered, and go make a proposal. I mean, the problem we're seeing is that it's taking us longer because we still strategize to be the last one in, and they're bringing in so many other companies and getting so many other information that once we do make a final presentation, we still have to go back out there, because what will happen is, even though we're the last one to propose, they'll then get back to the companies that they were talking to, and everyone's beating up, but just trying to do everything that we can. I don't know if that's an experience that everyone else is experiencing out there, but we're seeing it's taking longer to close the transaction once we got the appointment. And Ruth Ann, what is your average lead time from first appointment to the close? Okay, that's what we're just discussing right now. We're averaging anywhere from 5 to 6 weeks right now. And I get an appointment, and that's on an average, but I got one that we started the process on this one almost a year ago, and we're finally down to the point where it's a Zoltis 45 phone, so it's a small transaction. But I mean, they went through so many different companies. We finally put a couple of phones in off of our Zoltis switch into their offices, and we got them using Mixi right now. And but this is almost a year later. And it happens to be a CPA firm, so I got, they went into their season, they shut down during the season. Anybody who's prospecting into the accounting departments during April or October, it's a waste of your time, but that's where it's at. But we're finding, 5 to 6 weeks to close a transaction on an average. So, what else? Okay, so, here's the other thing is, and I touched upon this initially. You all know that our compensation program that we're using, we're taking that, we're still modifying that. Here's where we're at with this. This Friday, I'm interviewing, and I've approached the military, San Diego is a fairly strong military town. These guys are retiring or have retired. They're officers, so they're retiring with a pension of some sort. I'll be talking to about 80 guys on Friday. I'll show them our hosted program. I'll show them our commission program. I'm hoping that I can bring on 5 new guys that are commission only, just selling hosted, showing them where they can build recurring revenue. I'll show them the numbers that we did in the last lecture. We did a kind of numbers that somebody could make to supplement their income. And I'll keep everybody apprised of what we're doing with that, because the key right now is getting as many feet on the street as possible, because we got so many different companies selling hosted solutions. There's companies coming out now with really pretty innovative programs that are going to be pretty interesting to compete against. What we're seeing is that we have companies now doing pretty much the same thing that we've been attempting to do, is that they will give you commission for life on that system as long as the customer pays for it. In other words, go out and sell the product, and they become your account. They become your commissionable account for as long as they're paying the manufacturer. And we're early to the game on this, but it's like everything else, is that people see what's going on and what's happening. And when you look at the cloud, the effect that it has is that we are going to be commissionable company providing stuff out to the cloud, and that's where this whole industry seems to be going. And we're going to be selling software, and we're going to start selling managed services, because someone still has to manage the network and so forth. But the phone system is becoming a relatively small part of the transaction anymore. So I just got something where the middle was saying we lost audio. Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the gentleman that Dale will be talking to, these are guys that put 20 years into the military, primarily the Navy, that are probably in their 40s or so.
Yeah. So here, Stanford asked a really great question. All right, here, and I'll go back to it. And the question is that the process seems to be geared towards voice-related sales. How do you modify this process for data MSP in business continuity sales? Great question. What we do is, I find that if I'm sitting with a Cisco, I'm sitting with a ShoreTel, I'm sitting with a newer system, I come in and my whole approach now is managed services, cloud services, talking to the owner, the CFO, who I have their card, all right, and the CFO, particularly the owner, and that's a presentation where we come in, and I don't have this documented, Stanford. What we're doing is we're playing with that right now. Our managed services technical people we've sold 2 really large accounts. We got them buried, so we sort of backed off of moving with more managed services until we can catch up breath and catch up on the 2 transactions that we have. But what we have been doing on Paraxis is that, as an example that we have as a customer, is that we notice that there's no IT guy. They have an outside IT person, and their system was a newer system. So we just immediately start talking about managed services to the CFO. And our whole gear is that we want to show you how you can have cloud services and managed services do a proactive job of managing your data networks versus a reactive process of managing your networks. Like that 15 minutes of your time, just sort of show you what we're doing and show you the kind of reports that we will be giving to you on a monthly basis, so forth and so on. So what we're doing is we're opportunistic, looking for older phone systems. When we see newer phone systems, we'll immediately go over to the managed service side. The one thing that we have learned, and the one thing that I'll continue to say, is I don't go in and try to present both, ever. You got to pick one or the other. And if they have old phones, you want to pick that first because you have a higher probability of replacing them. If they have newer phones, I immediately chase it over to managed services. Once I sell the old phones, then that goes back into how do you work your base, and we're still working our base, trying to get our existing customer base over to the managed service side. So, Sanford, did I answer that question for you or not? Please, if you can respond.
Yeah, I think you did. You know, with the older phone systems, that's the lower hanging fruit. So start there, and if it's newer, then start there. So I appreciate that. That gave us some good direction.
Yeah, and I think like right now, I think VoiceSmart, I believe we're billing out about $22,000 in managed services right now, and it's a slow process. It's still a learning process. I know the guys who are going to the STAR team in Chicago, Mark is going to do a presentation of the good, the bad, the ugly, some of the things that we run into, some of the things you got to be aware of, some of the things that you can get in over your head. At these STAR teams, every time we go to STAR teams, we're sharing more and more about the managed service side of our business and our transactions. So, they become really critical of understanding that and learning from each other, because we're all learning what we need to do on that side of the transaction, because it's a different transaction. And, as we said a number of years ago, is that, you got to be on that side of the fence, or you're just going to have some troubles. So, we're looking at a program right now that a major manufacturer came out that's going to change this industry a little bit. So, we got a lot of challenges sitting out in front of us, but we got a lot of opportunities sitting out in front of us. Here's what I know, is that what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to get as many feet on the street, talking to as many people as we can about hosted services. And the hosted services that people can grasp the easiest is the phone. And I look at where we were 2 years ago trying to sell hosted to where we're at today trying to sell hosted. It's two different worlds. I mean, we're selling more hosted than we are selling on-prem right now. And I know we should be introducing here real soon is that all-in-one bill, equipment's provided for, single billing on a hosted platform for everybody in the tag organization. That is going to be the wave of the future, because right now you guys are competing against companies that are trying to sell the phone and everything else. But that's going to go away. No one's going to be selling phones. VoiceSmart learned 2.5 years ago that why would we sell the phone? And we supplying the phone. The problem with supplying the phone is I got to come up with all the cash, and the cash flow has hurt us. Well, Tag has now found a way to be able to provide to you, be able to sell that without having to come up with the cash and get a much higher commission on the transaction. And here again, as we do this, we're now starting to see some of the major manufacturers coming out with pretty much the same kind of program. So thank goodness we got this kind of a program going, because the guy that's going out there that's saying, pay for your phones or pay for this, is going to be in trouble pretty soon. So, all right. So we look at this door knocking, and if we have some questions, I hope I've been as clear as possible. There's a lot of functions. There's a lot of different legs to this. It helps you hire better. It helps get you. What we said is that get somebody come in, have them trained, and have them only sell hosted phone solutions. You hire somebody that's all they're going to do. This program has them on the street being productive in 2 to 3 days. And at the end of a 2-week period, based on their activity and based on what they've done, you can tell whether or not they're going to make it or not make it. And, finding that person that has the fire in their belly to drive into an area, stop their car, get out of the car, and go knock on a door becomes real critical. And I'm not saying we're doing this 100% of the time. I mean, there's 9 different ways that we have prospecting that we do. And, still your bird dogs, you're still above the line prospect. It's still always going to be your best prospecting, always. All right? And the industry is changing. All right? You look at most of your competition. At one time, and I'm going to use IBM as an example. I was with a guy that worked for IBM out of Cleveland. He said, Dale, when I was with IBM, we had 60 sales guys in the field. All right. Today, that same territory is being supported by 8 guys. He says internet, everything's gone virtual. It's a different world out there. And I said, yeah, I know that's absolutely correct. And you know what? We capitalized on that and saying, you know what? Being opportunistic is that not many people are out there knocking on a door anymore. So, you know, how do we differentiate ourselves? Whatever everybody else is doing, stop doing that, because that's not going to differentiate yourself. You gotta continue to keep reinventing yourself and say, what am I doing that nobody else is doing? And this is what we try to bring to TAG, is that, you know, we try to give you guys a program where a single bill, no product has to be sold. They pay a monthly fee, and we get commission as long as everything is being paid by the customer, long term and short term. And we got the commission at a pretty high rate, a higher rate than anybody else that's in the industry. That's differentiated ourselves. All right. We look at how we differentiate ourselves from a SIP base and not selling SIP. But you know what? The technology continues changing. We have to reinvent ourselves quicker, faster, and more frequently than we've ever had to do, because our industry is really going through some dramatic changes right now. And this is where the strength of TAG and working together of everybody's on the street really gives us the power of being able to sustain ourselves in this industry and be profitable in this industry. Can you share the? Yeah, you know what? I can share that presentation. Still, you know, it's I'll be over there tomorrow. Let me here. Better than that, what I'm going to do is that presentation there is just to appetize you guys and say, you know what? Are you interested in this program? And if we have that program, Ruth Ann, on a web share already. It's on the, and what it is how to hire, I don't know what the name is. Brian, I know you put it up on the web share because I saw it over there, where it's the commission structures of all the various things that guys can make recurring revenue from.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, so it's on there. If you can get Ruth Ann the name of that, because that's the web share that I'm going to go through real quick with these military guys, and just, you know, and then what I'm going to do is, I got 80. I'm going to throw some things out there that will illuminate a number of them. I'm hoping to get interest from about 15 or 20 guys to come in for a 3-hour presentation. That 3-hour presentation, I hope to whittle it down to 5 guys, or you know, 5 guys that I know have what it takes to go do this. So that's the process with them. And then if I'm successful in San Diego, we'll move it to Orange County. If I'm Orange County, we'll move it to Los Angeles to Ventura over to Riverside. So don't know if we're going to be successful. The fantasy, or what we envision is, you know, where do these guys go? They're all college educated. They all have spent a tremendous amount of time with leadership skills. They all are sitting with a pension plan that doesn't quite give them everything that they need. All right, we're gonna show them how to supplement that income, and that they can be and work for themselves. They can put in X amount of years supplementing that income, and then get to a point where, you know, they want to work 2 days a week, they can work 2 days a week. They want to work a couple of hours a day, they can do that. If they want to leave and go on vacation for 30 days, you know, it ain't going to have any effect on them whatsoever. They can go do that. So I'm going to show them how to have freedom and how to understand what recurring revenue really means to an individual. And you're gonna start finding. I'm gonna talk to Brian. There's a book out right now that talks about the recurring revenue and how it has to be shared to get and maintain people within your organizations. I'll get that information out to Brian. He'll get it out to everybody else. But it's a real interesting read. And you know, what we're looking at is that, yeah, how we did business before is maybe not how we do business today. So Ruth Ann, take a look at that web share. Give me a call, and I'll walk you through it on an individual basis, and I'll keep you apprised of everything we're doing with this, if that works for you. Oh, okay, so you have heavy. Oh, you know what? Central PA, you're right. Yeah, you know what, Ruth Ann, let's spend some time with each other. And if you want to go down this path, you know, I'll let you at least observe our path as we're doing it. Now understand, you know, what we try to do here is like no different we did here. We've made so many mistakes on this door knocking program that, you know, I can just shake a stick. I mean, we wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy. You know, but as a result of that, we put a program together that if you do this program as described, this will get you appointments. But, you know, we floundered with it a little bit. We got to make some adjustments a little bit. We were, you know, some of the sales guys got a little frustrated with it a little bit. But you know what? When it's all said and done, we got it. So on this military thing, we're going to go through the same process. We're going to go in there, we're going to make our mistakes, we're going to learn from it. But when we're done with it, we will have a program that will work. Okay. Any other questions?
Just another comment. After this this seminar, AJ will send everybody an email with the PowerPoint, a Word document that I've been sharing at sales training that documents everything that you saw here in the emails, the scripting, all that good stuff. It's in a program itself within a Word document. And he will also send out a link to the recorded webinar as well. So you get all of that sometime today.
So hey, is Sam Bishop, you still on the line?
Yeah, it looks like he got on.
Okay, all right. All right, so yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. You know, Larry's here to support you, Brian's here to support you, AJ's here to support you, I'm here to support you, Dale's here to support you. You know, if you want to get into the program, you got any questions, you know, please, you know, get on the line, get hold of us, and we'll work with you. And Ruth Ann, I will get to you. I'll keep you apprised of everything we're doing. All right, guys, have a good day. There's no further questions. All right, bye-bye.